You're watching another Supercharged Masterclass with Jordan Samuel Fleming. Your opportunity to learn the ins and outs of Podio design and development from one of the top Podio partners in the world.
Hey, it's Jordan Fleming here with another Supercharged Masterclass. Now, today I'm going to go and bit of a longer video because I'm going to dive into the different ways you can share Podio and the things you do in Podio with people outside of Podio. Now, there are a number of different ways of doing this. In fact, I have a podcast about this. It's, as we speak right now, is just about to launch. And it's one of those areas that you need to think very carefully about because there are pros and cons of each way of doing it. And I try in this video to dive into the main ways of doing it, to show you how it looks and to give you those pros and cons. It's really important because if you do it right, it means you can bring people into your Podio, continue using Podio to be awesome for all the work inside of your business, and share it properly. If you do it wrong, you can end up with a lot of hassle, a lot of people not knowing what's going on, and quite honestly, a big fucking mess. So let's dive into Podio. Okay, so here we are in Podio. Now, there are a couple different methods that you can use to share data with people who are external to Podio. Now, the first ones I'm going to talk about actually are kind of involving bringing them into Podio itself. And that is two ways. One, you share an item, and two, you add them to a workspace. So in this case, if I wanted to share this specific item, I could share this, and I could pick my person, and I can write a personal message, and I have the choice to do read only or not. In this case, I won't bother, and click share. Now, over here on, I'm logged into this person's profile. You'll see, of course, something popped up. And if this person that you're sharing it with is not actually in Podio, they're going to get an email. And if they know nothing about Podio, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be confusing to them. They're going to come in and they're really not going to know where the hell to go. So you got to bear that in mind when you're bringing external people into Podio, whether it's sharing item or sharing workspace. You got to bring in kind of keep it in mind that they're not going to know anything about Podio. So, you know, you've got to kind of factor that into the way in which you make your decisions. Once I've shared an item and they would then have to go through the point of creating a Podio user, they will then see an area here in the organization which is called shared with you. Now, when you share an item, it goes into this shared with you. I personally hate this. I very rarely do it, and the reason being is that there's no way of filtering or organizing what's shared with me. So if you're using the shared item a lot, you're going to find out that people are having to scroll. It becomes a bit of a mess. So I would personally say this is the least effective way of doing it. Now, of course, the other way is I can just add someone into a workspace. So here's my workspace, and I've added a user into it. Now, the good news about that is, of course, they can then interact with you very much like anybody else. You can comment, you can in direct message, but you can comment, you can tag them on things, you can assign them on things inside of something. And so the power of Podio exists in this. But of course, I'm going to caveat that because, like I said before, if you bring people into Podio who are not used to Podio, are you using Podio with CallRail? There's a better way. Click the link to find out why hundreds of businesses have moved over to using smartphone, the only phone system built for Podio. Make more calls, send more texts, and close more deals. Click the link. The danger zone is that you're then going to become a bit of a Podio support. Because as you probably know, as you get into using Podio, it really is there's a couple month learning curve before you become really, really efficient with it. So I always say to people, look, there's nothing wrong with bringing people into Podio. There's nothing wrong at all with that. But you've got to know that can also open up problems as well. Now, another way that you can kind of do a halfway house with this is you can use, say you're just wanting to gather some information from people, so not really share information, but gather it. You could use a pre-filled web form, and I'll do a masterclass about that. That is an easy way of sending some information to someone and getting them maybe to update their contact details without bringing them into Podio. But let's move on to really kind of sharing information. And the next step up for me is around external links and portals. Now, an external link, as I think I've showed you in other videos, an external link gives people a link to click, and it takes them to a web page on which you can embed a ton of Podio information, including links to go to other places or links to go to a web form, etc. The problem with that, and the potential problem with the other solution here, which is the mini app, which is a functionality of a plugin called Procfu. See, these are really great for externalizing information, and this is actually the mini app, which, as you can see, can be branded how I want it. I can include fields. I can make them read-only fields so that they can't touch them. I can display fields as read-only only. I can embed, I can actually embed different things here, different links here. So it's not just one page I'm seeing. I can show them a whole lot of information. This is a really great solution, for instance, for a customer portal like this is, to show them, hey, here is everything we did for you, or here's what you've purchased, here's the history, here's your current balance. The mini apps and the external links can work really well for that. I prefer the mini apps, which is this, because it can be branded really well. You can have these dynamic kind of feels to them, and you can adjust with a mini app, you can adjust how people log into it. So you can actually get them to log into a portal via a simple password, via Podio if they're in Podio, although that they're probably not. You can do it by an email and password, right? So an email and password, a user-based one. So that means this user can only see the things that I've assigned to that user to be able to see, versus just a generic password to get into the portal, which means anybody with that password can see everything in there, right? The mini apps is a really nice step up. It can allow you to give people a ton of information, navigate around it smoothly, brand it decently, not perfectly, but decently, and the relative cost of doing it is pretty low compared to the final stage, which is where you sort of build your own web application. Now, this is one that we did years ago, and every single bit of information in this web application, from members to properties to vendors to my profiles to everything, syncs from Podio, and any changes they make here syncs down. That's that kind of the gold standard. And if you're looking to provide a really kind of inclusive way of sharing Podio data, this is definitely the kind of gold standard, because you can, of course, use your own domain. You can make it a subdomain of the domain for that customer or for yourself, and it can feel like they're just logging in to your website, and yet all the information is fully synced from Podio. So those are the kind of the two tiers of sharing Podio information. One kind of uses Podio and brings people in, and the other externalizes data and shows people that data. Those are the options that are the best way of doing it. Now, what do I think? How am I going to sum this up? What do I think are the best practices? I'll tell you. All right, well, there you have it. Hope that gave you a good dive into how you can, of course, use Podio to do all the amazing things in your business, but then externalize it and bring other people into that data, get them the ability to use Podio data. As I said, if you're going to have people in Podio a ton, bringing them into Podio is okay if they're going to be using it every day. If not, really you have to look at the best ways of externalizing Podio to them via either a Procfu mini app, which I will dive into and show you how to build some of those, or via your own custom portal. Like I said, one is quicker, cheaper, and not quite as controllable. and the full-fledged portal is amazing and will give an amazing experience and give you an opportunity to build essentially a web app for your Podio data so someone can really have a great experience, but it of course takes longer and costs more money. But the key thing is this: don't bring people into Podio unless they're going to be using it all the time, because all that's going to happen is you will become a Podio support vehicle. They will be going every month, they'll log in and be like, what the fuck, where is this? I don't know what's going on. So it is far better to give the data they need outside of Podio, and those are your two best ways of doing it. Hope that helped. As always, please hop over to YouTube and give it a subscribe on the channel so you don't miss any of these awesome videos. Please do check out the Supercharged podcast. Give it a like, give it a review, give it a rating. It really does help to spread the gospel of Podio. And of course, you know, if you've got anything, disagree, want to see me cover something, have any questions, pop over to the website or YouTube and do it in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching this Supercharged Masterclass with Jordan Samuel Fleming, CEO of Smartphone. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel to be notified of new podcast episodes, Podio Masterclasses, and in-depth Podio extension reviews.